See, I don't know this Jean Grae because the way I grew up, I know this Jean Grae. That's my Jean Grae. I'm sorry. So pardon me, all you Marvel fans and Prana Supreme Digs for me screwing it up. But that's the Jean Grae I fuck with. Her right there.
Don't talk to me about female MCs can't rap. Don't talk to me about Cardi B being the only female rapper. You people are uneducated when it comes to rap. Disrespectful to all female MC and this legendary artist, rapper, writer, poet, Jean Grae. Top 5, top 10, dead or alive, male, female, hands down.
In the male-dominated world of hip-hop, female MCs have always had to fight for their place at the table. However, ever since she showed up on the scene in the 90s, Jean Grae has been an inspiration for men and women behind the mic. I'm joined right now by the queen of the underground, the one, the only, the conscious femc.
Late 90s, New York was a battlefield. Jay-Z, Nas, Talib Kweli, everybody was fighting for the crown, trying to prove who really ran the mic. But even Jay-Z admitted it himself. There was one woman who might have been the best MC alive. Her name? Jean Grae. Born to two jazz legends, she stepped into NYU and walked right back out after just 2 months because, in her eyes, they had nothing left to teach her. Her album masterpiece? Shelved for 4 long years like it didn't matter? And the track she called the most important of her life, the one where she opened up about her abortion at 16, her miscarriages, her deepest pain. Someone went behind her back and made a video for it without even asking her once. No warning, no respect, nothing. Now take it back. Cape Town, 1976. C.D. Ibrahim was born into a world where music wasn't just a dream, it was the standard. Her father, Abdullah Ibrahim, was one of the greatest jazz pianists to ever come out of Africa. Her mother, Sathima Bea Benjamin, had a voice so powerful it could silence an entire room. But apartheid didn't care about talent, it only cared about control. Black excellence wasn't celebrated, it was restricted, boxed in, pushed aside.
But then there's also the piece that a lot of women hip-hop artists, female hip-hop artists, don't write their own raps.
A lot of male artists don't write their own raps either.
So before she even turned one, her family had no choice. They packed up and left. By 1977, they were in New York City, raising a baby in exile, caught between two worlds that weren't supposed to mix. The polished, technical world of jazz clashed hard with the raw, unpredictable energy of Brooklyn streets, and somehow, she carried both inside her. Her mother never let the industry play her either. When record labels refused to cooperate, she didn't beg or fold under pressure. She built her own lane. She started Akapa Records from scratch, self-funded, self-run, completely outside the system. And her daughter saw everything, every risk, every sacrifice, every moment where independence cost more, but meant everything. Her mother always chose dignity over convenience, every single time. And that mindset stuck. When CD first started rapping, she went by, "What? What?" And the industry? It stayed silent like it didn't even want to answer. Then she switched it up. Jean Grae, inspired by Jean Grae from X-Men, the one with the most powerful mind in the room, the one nobody could control no matter how hard they tried. That wasn't random. That was strategy.
The first time I ever heard Jean Grae was a feature with Pharoah Monch, which was already late into her discography, but honestly, I'm just glad I found her. It was a song with her, Pharoah Monch, and Royce da 5'9".
She never made moves by accident, not once. She got into NYU's music business program, but 2 months in, she was already done. She said they had nothing left to teach her, nothing. She'd been surrounded by music her whole life, living it, breathing it before she could even walk. She was built different, built to last. But what she hadn't seen yet was the truth. The industry wasn't built for someone like her. This was way before streaming, before algorithms started deciding what people should hear. Back then, late 90s New York underground was raw and unforgiving. You had to earn your name piece by piece. One cipher at a time, one borrowed studio session at a time, one tape passed through the right hands in the right borough. And when people called you the best MC in the room, it actually meant something, because that room was full of people ready to challenge you if you slipped even once. Jean Grae stepped into those rooms. and nobody challenged her. Nobody. Her early mixtapes from '96 into the early 2000s weren't polished or industry ready. No big budget, no label push. Just her, a beat, and a pen moving faster than most people could even process. She wasn't focused on image or trying to fit some mold. She didn't water herself down or smooth out her edges for anyone, and that made her impossible to ignore. She wasn't about to water anything down just to make radio programmers feel comfortable, not even close. While the industry kept trying to push women in hip-hop into lanes that had nothing to do with real lyricism, she shut that down every single time. No compromises, no shortcuts. She was crafting verses that were dense, layered, and razor-sharp, pure skill on display, and people noticed. Jay-Z heard her and said it straight up. She might be the best MC alive right now. Not best female MC, not best underground, just the best, period.
Sort of what it means for artists to now take much more control over their careers and to have much more of their hand in the pie as opposed to these big labels.
Yes, and things have definitely changed. You know, if we're looking at the fact that Macklemore is #1 on the charts right now as an unsigned artist, which is crazy.
Even Black Thought from the Roots, someone respected across the entire culture, spoke on her bars like he was sitting in a masterclass. That says everything. You had real heavyweights mentioning her name, and when people heard those conversations, it hit different. Like, who is this woman moving on a completely different frequency than everybody else? Then 2002 hit, and Attack of the Attacking Things dropped. That project spread through the underground like a story nobody could stop telling. No big campaign, no flashy rollout, barely any resources behind it. She wrote almost all of it herself, built it from the ground up with next to nothing. And still, it found its way into people's ears the way real music always does. One person pressing play for another, each one stunned by what they were hearing. That album didn't just get fans, it built a loyal following that never left. People still talk about it like it just dropped, not it was good, but it is good. That kind of impact doesn't fade. And then came Genius, the project that was supposed to flip everything upside down. She teamed up with Ninth Wonder, one of the most talented producers of his era, and all the pieces were finally lining up for something huge. What happened in those sessions? That's the kind of story the industry whispers about for years. Ninth Wonder even said it himself, two artists at the absolute peak of their craft, locked in the same room, creating something neither of them could have made alone. But it wasn't easy. She challenged everything, every bar, every beat choice, every direction. Nothing slipped by her. She knew exactly what she was building, and she was building something that would last.
A crazy, lyrical, amazing rapper like Cannabis or like freaking Immortal Technique or just like really dope artists. And she would be the token female artist on that track, and she would always kill it. A lot of times she would have the first verse or anchor, and amazing. When I say amazing, like I'm not exaggerating in any type of way. Fire musician.
By 2007, Genius was finished, mixed, mastered, completely ready to go. And her name? It was buzzing louder than ever before. The underground was watching, waiting, talking. Real conversations were happening in real rooms about whether Jean Grae was finally about to break through, whether this was the moment the whole world would have no choice but to listen. She was right there, right at the edge of everything she had spent over a decade grinding for. 11 years of work, sacrifice, and precision leading to this exact moment. And then, someone leaked the album online. Just like that. And to this day, nobody has stepped up to claim it. No accountability, no answers, nothing. Blacksmith Records, they went completely silent. No statement, no updated release date, no explanation, no call, no warning, no plan. Just silence. But not the kind of silence that happens by accident. This was calculated. The kind the industry uses when it wants something or someone to quietly disappear without ever saying it out loud. Jean Grae had just created what Ninth Wonder called the best work of his entire career, and the very label that was supposed to back it, They moved like it didn't even exist. For 4 years, it was like the project and everything behind it was just erased. 4 years. That's how long Genius just sat there. 4 years while the underground kept passing around the leak like it was gold. 4 years while new artists started building whole careers on the foundation she helped create. And somehow, the conversation about who defined New York hip-hop kept moving forward without even saying her name. Blacksmith Records, co-founded by Talib Kweli, someone known for speaking truth to power, for standing up for black art, for being the alternative to everything wrong in the industry, sat on her masterpiece and said nothing. Not a word. That silence hit loud.
And I think a lot of us come from the school of the 90s hip-hop, which was, we were doing it ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, we started our own record labels and went to go press up our own records. I came from a family of musicians, and when I was young and being pushed in a stroller, my mom was taking me to Europa Disc to press up her records and making press kit.
Think about it. 2002, Jay-Z calls her the best MC alive. By 2008, she's posting on Craigslist. Same mind, same voice, same skill set. But the world around her shifted in a way that didn't make sense. Still, she didn't sit around waiting for permission. Not once. Through all 4 of those years, she kept working. Guest verses, collaborations, new material. And every time she showed up, she reminded anyone paying attention exactly who they were dealing with. No label backing her, no rollout plan, no industry push, no checks coming in. And still, she kept delivering. You don't move like that if you've quit. You move like that when you're locked in and not backing down. And then things crossed a line. They went after her story, the one piece she never made for the industry, never made for attention. My story wasn't about charts or numbers. It was personal in a way most artists never dare to be. She spoke openly about her abortion at 16, her heart condition, her miscarriages, and those moments where she was pushed to her absolute edge. No metaphors, no filters, no safety net. Just raw truth laid out in plain language. Nothing hidden, nothing softened, everything real. She made a choice. Her story belonged to her, and she was going to tell it exactly how it happened. No filters, no edits, no outside voices changing the meaning. But Blacksmith Records didn't call her, didn't check in, didn't ask a single question. Instead, they moved behind the scenes. They hired a director, brought in actors, and shot a full music video for My Story without her input at all. This wasn't just any track. It was about her abortion, her miscarriages, her darkest moments. And what did they do? They rewrote the ending, turned it into something more hopeful, more digestible, more comfortable for people sitting in offices making decisions. They shaped it into a version that could sell, one that wouldn't make anyone sit too long with the real weight of what she had lived through. They didn't take her royalties, they didn't touch her credits, but they took something deeper than that, something you can't even put into legal terms. They reached into the most honest, vulnerable piece she had ever created and changed what it meant. Her mother built Ekapa Records so no one could control her art. That was the whole point. Ownership, independence, protection. But this wasn't about ownership on paper. They didn't take Jean Grae's music. They took her pain, reshaped it, and tried to sell it back with an ending she never agreed to. And when she spoke up about it, someone in the industry really said it out loud, like her voice didn't matter, like her boundaries were optional. That moment said everything about how the system saw her. A contract, a camera, a rewrite. That's all it took to override her truth. September 2008, 12 years in the game. 12 years of bars that made legends pause mid-thought. 12 years of work that producers studied like it was a blueprint. Showing up every single time the music demanded something real from her. And still, she was struggling to pay rent. So she went on Craigslist. The post didn't read like a typical ad. It felt like something between a formal statement and a quiet surrender, like someone who had given everything and was finally saying it out loud. She reached a point where she didn't even want to complain anymore. No big speeches, no dramatic outbursts, just a quiet shift. She posted creative services available. That was it. 16 bars for $800. Think about that for a second. $800 for someone who helped build the credibility of labels worth millions. $800 for a mind that Black Thought called one of the finest he'd ever encountered in the entire genre. And there it was, sitting on Craigslist, the same place people go to sell old furniture or look for roommates.
Like lyrically, punchlines, rhyme schemes, a pen game, storytelling. It's mind-blowing how talented this artist is, and not a lot of people know about her. Personally, I really genuinely feel like there's a problem in the world why she's not known more. Like, there has to be. There's no reason somebody this talented is not that known.
Not long after that, she logged onto MySpace and wrote a farewell letter to music. And it didn't come off angry or loud. It was calm, almost too calm. The kind of calm that only shows up when someone is completely drained, when they've already felt every emotion possible and there's nothing left to give. She didn't dress it up or soften it, she said it straight. She was done. Ninth Wonder read it and said it felt like reading her obituary, like she was already gone and nobody had even realized it yet. That's how heavy it was. But the truth? She wasn't gone. She had moved past the grief, past the anger, into a space where asking for permission didn't even cross her mind anymore. She wasn't broken. Don't get that twisted. She was finished with the system. There's a difference, and she understood it clearly. So instead of chasing an industry that kept shutting doors, she created something else. A small bar in Brooklyn, twice a month. No stage lights, no backstage access, no label reps watching and judging her market value. Just folding chairs and real people. People who were tired, people carrying their own weight, people who needed somewhere honest to exist for a minute. By 2012, she took things in a direction nobody saw coming. She became an ordained minister. Yes, really. It happened online during one wild night she later admitted involved a serious amount of alcohol. But here's the thing. It was completely legal, fully recognized, and she turned it into something real. Something the music industry had never given her. She created her own space, the Church of the Infinite You. No rules, no strict beliefs, no dress code telling people how to show up. The only requirement? Everyone was welcome. She even made it clear, yes, even people who like bacon. That detail said everything about the energy she was building. She stood in front of struggling artists, tired creatives, people quietly falling apart, and gave them something she never got when she needed it most. She told them they didn't need permission to exist, to create, to take up space. That message hit different coming from someone who had been through everything she had. That same year, she launched KAGD Multimedia, her own production company. No middlemen, no executives hovering over her shoulder. She wrote, directed, recorded, and edited everything herself. A full web sitcom, Life with Jeannie, completely self-made, scripted, performed, and produced without anyone stepping in to adjust her vision. Every project she dropped after that, on her terms. Albums released through Bandcamp, on her own schedule, fully owned by her. The same industry that spent years trying to define her value didn't even have a seat at the table anymore. She built her own table. And then Genius finally got an official release in 2008, 4 years late. When it dropped, it didn't feel new. It felt historic, like something that had been locked away and finally uncovered. Pitchfork covered it, the underground embraced it, and critics said exactly what Ninth Wonder had been saying all along. None of it gave her those 4 years back. Not the praise, not the recognition, not the late release. None of it could return what was taken. What she left behind wasn't a Grammy or some industry trophy. It was something bigger. It was a blueprint. Every young woman in hip-hop who looks at a contract and asks one more question than the generation before her, that's Jean Grae. Every artist who puts their real pain on a track, unedited, unfiltered, and refuses to dress it up with a fake happy ending, that's Jean Grae. She didn't get the recognition she deserved, but she built the road anyway, and that road is still there. Right now, on Bandcamp, there's a project called Cookies or Comas. She made it herself, mixed it herself, released it herself. No label, no approval process, no one stepping in to change the meaning. Blacksmith Records? Gone. Not even part of the conversation anymore. Talib Kweli is still recognized as one of hip-hop's most conscious voices, still celebrated in the culture. Meanwhile, Jean Grae is still creating, but now it's in a space she built on her own. No interference, no outside control, just her vision, fully intact. She makes music on her terms, for an audience that found her without being told where to look, without a marketing machine guiding them. The industry moved on like it always does, but she didn't need it to stay relevant. There's a version of this story where everything played out differently, where the leak never happened, where the system didn't drop the ball like that. Imagine a version of this story where things actually went right, where the label picked up the phone and had a real conversation, where someone at Blacksmith sat across from her and said, "This is her story, not ours to touch." Where Genius dropped in 2007 the way it was supposed to, and shifted the entire conversation around who really got to define hip-hop in that era. But that version? We're never going to hear it, and that's the part that sticks with you. So here's what matters now. If you know someone building something real, something honest, something that actually costs them something to create, don't wait. Tell them you see it while they're still in it. Not after the world gets involved, not after it's polished and packaged, right now. And think about this for a second. What would hip-hop look like today if Jean Grae had the same level of support as Jay-Z back in 2002? That's a real question. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear where you stand on that. If this story stayed with you, don't keep it to yourself. Hit like, subscribe to the channel, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and join the conversation below. Keep her name alive in the culture. They tried to bury a version of Jean Grae, but she didn't stay down, not even close.